guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm just going to share with you some things that you should probably know or at least take into consideration before bleaching your hair. So first things first, I already have an established hair routine. It doesn't have to be the best. You don't have to have the best products or the most consistent routine per se. However, you still need to have a decent framework for your hair. So if you have a schedule where you wash your hair once a week, deep condition once a week, and for most part you're just putting it in a protective style, that works. As long as you have a consistent routine that treats your hair well, because only you know how your hair is doing if you actually pay attention to it. So it's always about the building blocks. Like if your bottom block is not sturdy, the entire structure is going to come tumbling down. Before you even consider bleaching your hair, make sure you have a decent routine in place. Number two, you definitely want to make sure that you're treating your hair properly. This goes back to the whole having a good routine thing. Let's be honest. There's times where everyone gets lazy, you don't feel like doing your hair, and you might fall off a little bit. But dyeing your hair should be a conscious decision, especially if you like your hair and you like having your hair, because there's a huge chance if you're not paying attention or if you don't follow the instructions that something could go wrong. And that's not even the other factors, like you might be allergic to it, or maybe your hair just straight up doesn't like it, or it's harsher than you thought it was going to be, or maybe it's even gentler than you thought it was going to be, so now you have to do it twice to get to the color that you actually want. You never know. Number three, assuming that you have a decent hair care routine in place and you've been taking extra care of your hair because you know you're about to dye or bleach, because you made the decision, this isn't a spur of the moment thing, make sure that you stop washing your hair at least 3 days before you bleach it. Why? Let me tell you. Your scalp can get irritated. So the more dirt buildup that you have on your scalp, it acts as a protection barrier. Of course, you don't have to. It just works better. This also isn't just a bleach tip. This is also like a perm tip or any other type of chemical treatment. You just want a base layer of protection. Not only that, you also want the extra barrier on your hair from all the products that you have used to like try and minimize the damage or at least stop it from drying out. Anytime you go lighter, you're damaging your hair. Adding color, it's whatever. But when you remove color from your hair, that's when the problems set in. You're already breaking down its natural structure, and you're gonna let it be dry too? Why? Don't you love yourself? Also, not only that, when you wash your hair, remember, your scalp has pores. You don't want them open. It's gonna be a bad time. Now that pretty much all the prep tips are out the way, you know your hair texture will change. It might be slight, it might be extreme. It depends on how well you prepped your hair beforehand and how your hair reacts. Because, I don't know, you probably don't know, which is probably why you're watching this. Assuming that you follow all instructions and you try your absolute hardest to minimize damage, you should be fine. But at the end of the day, your hair texture is not going to be the same. It will be similar. It may be very similar, but it will not be exact. Not only just the texture, the actual density of your strands, that is also going to change. I'm not saying that your hair is going to be see-through after doing it, unless you really mess it up. But you will notice that your hair is slightly thinner. It just comes with the territory. So, you bleached your hair, took everything into account. You know your hair texture has changed. You took care of your hair before the process. You made sure your hair was coated with some oils so that way your hair doesn't die and start falling out and you look like you had chemotherapy. Next, your hair routine will have to change. It might be slight changes, it might be big changes. You don't know until you do it. However, keep in mind that the way your hair went into the process is not the way it's going to come out of the process. So for me personally, I started off as low porosity. I am now high porosity. Once again, comes with the territory. Not everyone's hair is going to change as extremely. You will have to make tweaks to your hair routine afterwards, just to take into consideration the damage that you just caused. Some people don't need more protein. Some people actually just need more moisture because their strands just get really, really dry now. Or some people notice that, hey, their hair is actually a little bit too soft because they're used to putting a lot of moisture in their hair, but now their hair craves more protein. Don't get frustrated or confused or hurt if your old hair routine doesn't work anymore or as well as it used to. Next thing is you will notice shedding and breakage more. But hear me out. You shouldn't experience an extreme amount of increased shedding or breakage. Granted, your hair might break off a little bit more after this, and your hair might shed a little bit more because once again, damage is what it is. But you should not be pulling out clumps of hair every single time you touch your hair. That is a problem. You did something wrong. You need some help. Go get that. Don't just let your hair do whatever it's doing if it comes to that, because even though it should increase by the slightest margin, you should not be experiencing extreme differences between the amount of hair you lost beforehand and the amount of hair that you're losing now. But it will be more noticeable just because because it's a different color. Just keep in mind how much hair you were losing beforehand before you start getting scared. Because a lot of people, just the fact that it's more noticeable color-wise, they start freaking out because they're not used to noticing their sheddage or their breakage. Not that it wasn't happening before. Now, you can't escape seeing it. And my last and final tip / trick that you should be doing to know of, just be gentle with your hair. I mean, you should be gentle with your hair to begin with, but put a little bit more care into how gentle you are. You just traumatize your hair and you're over here trying to slick it all the way back and like do tight ponytails and super tight braids. Like, it's cute, I get it, you do that, you got that, but your hair is weaker. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And for those of you who actually like bleached your hair or think about bleaching your hair, if you have any questions or your own tips and tricks or anything you would like to add, be sure to leave that in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.